evening. I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. After wrapping up their case on Vice President Sara Duterte's alleged grave threat, the House prosecution panel is moving to the impeachment article on her use of confidential funds. Among the expected witnesses, alleged bagman Ramil Madriaga, whom our guest for tonight has called the weakest link in the impeachment case. How will Duterte's camp challenge Madriaga's testimony? Let's get on point with Attorney Paolo Panelo. He is Duterte's lawyer in her perjury complaint against Ramil Madriaga. Attorney, good to have you again.
Yes.
Thank you
Good
for
evening.
your time. All right.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Day 9. It ended, as I mentioned a while ago, with the allegation of grave threat against the Vice President. In your opinion, was it established or not?
For me, based on a legal standpoint, I don't think it was. Because the very evidence of the prosecution, which was the video that was presented, also includes the very defense of the Vice President. For me, the context matters with respect to that allegation of grave threats. The defense was able to establish, at least preliminarily, because they will have their turn to present their evidence later on, that the context in which those words were said was a direct response to a question about Operation Romanov, which is allegedly, at the time, an ongoing or imminent threat to the security of the Vice President and her family. So for me, considering that there was an ongoing threat to her life, and that the authorities that you would normally report to or ask help from to protect you are the same agencies that are allegedly behind the threat, then it was justifiable, understandable, perfectly reasonable for her to resort to something like that, which is to utter something to deter the threat against her life.
So you're saying that she said that to deter any threats or any plans to kill her?
Yes, because who would you run to? The NBI, the PNP, they're the same agencies that are controlled by who she believed was behind the threat to her life, which pinangalanan niya pa, the President, the First Lady, and the former Speaker. So under those circumstances, what other choice did you have? To me, it was justified for her to say, if you kill me, then I will do something back. And
Pagmamatay ako.
so to me, it wasn't a true threat. It was just
How would you categorize it? How would you
it was just a bluster.
Okay.
So legally, for me, it's not a criminal act because the intent it wasn't a true threat. But also it can also be classified as self-defense because there's an imminent threat against you. And then you just did something to try and repel that.
Okay, let's talk about what you said. I think that's one of the, to talk about self-defense. It's a self-defense basically in simple terms because she was defending herself because there was a threat to kill her.
Yes.
That's basically what you're trying to say. So if there's a threat to kill anybody, that person has a right to actually say publicly that when asked, of course, when provoked, when asked, that I actually contracted someone already to kill A, B, and C. That justifies that.
It doesn't have to be true about what you said. It just has to be enough to repel the threat and that you don't actually go through with the threat or push through with the threat. So I've checked jurisprudence in the Philippines, wala pa. I think precisely because hindi siya criminal in nature. If you threaten somebody, if you hurt me, diba, suntukin kita. Diba? It's not criminal in nature. It's more of a deterrent. So I checked jurisprudence, wala pang umabot sa Supreme Court, but our laws, criminal and constitutional laws are patterned after the US.
So basically you're saying if there's a threat to your life, that justifies you contracting someone to kill that person.
No, it justifies you from threatening that person that you have something
and
planned.
contracting an assassin, somebody to kill.
But that's the thing, that wasn't proved. And the NBI Director Matibag even said that they don't have proof as of now.
Wala
They're
pa.
zeroing in on people, but wala. So, yun. And yun nga, I was looking at US jurisprudence, merong jurisprudence on that. Like, for example, there was a couple that was fighting, and then the woman grabbed a bottle of bleach, and then itatapon niya sa asawa niya. Sabi nung asawa niya, if you throw that at me, if you don't put it down, babasagin ko yung kamay mo. And he was arrested for grave threats or the equivalent crime in the US. And he was acquitted because the courts found him justified in countering with a threat. And the court even said that you can threaten something that is even worse than what is being threatened to you, provided that you don't push
Mas
through
matindi.
with it.
Wag mo lang
Wag mo lang ituloy.
But how does that work? On two things. One, this just comes to mind right now, also discussed during the trial. Two other videos of the Vice President saying she wants the head of the President, yung isa, tapos sige, itabi muna natin yung kay Mayor Baset. That's one. How does that self-defense, as you call it, claim affect, or doesn't that damage or kill that self-defense theory?
I don't think it's related. I think they were trying to, they presented those videos to show that there was a pattern or
Pattern of violence, as they called
or
it.
she really wanted to harm the president and so forth. But again, she was telling a story about how the president humiliated a military graduate, was it? Because of this tradition on giving watches. So nagalit siya. So she was just telling people what she had in her mind. Na parang gusto
Toxic
ko siyang,
na tong relationship na to.
Yeah. So I don't think it's too relevant. And yeah. Pero
Too
on the-
relevant for coming from the Vice President, talking about the President. That's actually where I also wanted to go. Of course, we understand equal protection to all, right? But when you're talking about the President and the Vice President, and even senators, people who have higher positions
Right.
than you and me, is there an exception to your theory of self-defense, sir? Because if balikan po natin si NBI Director Melvin Matibag, basically he's saying a threat to the President is a threat to the national security. What do you say to that?
the law doesn't carve out those exceptions for government officials, you know. So I think the law should apply equally to them. But tapos if we go to whether it's an impeachable offense naman, ako sa akin kasi
Sorry, sir, I don't want to go to the
Yeah.
impeachable offense first because I wanted to get your answer. Because I'm trying to understand your train of thought. Doon po sa, that is the Vice President threatening the President, according to NBI Director Matibag, which is a threat to the national security. How about that?
sa akin kasi, 'di ba, the context is may threat din sa buhay ng Vice Presidente and wala siyang matakbuhan. So instead of reporting it, parang what do you say? And it's not like it was even planned when she said it. It was directly in response to a question about Operation Romanov. It's public, which destroys the character of it as something that, you know, premeditated plan to threaten the president. So she was just reacting in the moment. Pero
And that justifies it.
to me it is.
It justifies
To me it does. And the former president, Duterte, the father, of course, he rose to prominence precisely because of these threats against criminals, di ba? Parang, umalis kayo sa city ko, kung hindi, papatayin ko kayo. Yan yung, if you're talking about impeachable offense, you can argue that President Duterte, the father, maintained his trust ratings and won the presidency precisely because of those kinds of
Those tough words.
tough words. Yeah.
But yeah, and the implementation of those tough words, of course, led to where he is right now, hindi ho ba?
Yeah, because of his political enemies. My personal take there is if there's not enough evidence to file anything here, there shouldn't be enough basis to file it in the ICC, which, of course, to me, doesn't have jurisdiction over the Philippines.
Well,
Yeah.
I interrupted you a while ago, just going through that train of thought. You said, I don't even believe it's an impeachable offense. May sinabi ho kayo about it a while ago. Could you further explain? Sabi mo, it's not an impeachable offense. Please go ahead.
It's really connected to what I said about the former president. Na it's rhetoric, diba? It's bluster. That's what I meant earlier. It's a bluster to deter criminals in this specific situation. It's to deter the threat to her own life with the government behind it, diba? So I don't think it rises to the level of impeachable offense.
Saan ho galing yung with the government behind that?
That's what she believes. And I was going to that. Ang responsibility naman ng defense is to prove that there's an actual threat. Because if they're unable to prove it, then diba, there's no self-defense. Pero sa akin kasi there are two layers for the defense. It's not a true threat because it's bluster. Two, it's self-defense. Bluster, for me, you don't really need to prove. You don't really have the burden of proof or evidence to show that. Pero ang self-defense kasi by law, if you resort to that defense, the burden of evidence is on you to prove na may actual threat to you.
So the burden of proof will lie with the defense. Tama ho ba?
Yeah, they need to prove kasi of course the accused and respondents are entitled to alternative defenses, diba? But if they argue self-defense, then the burden is on them to prove that there was an actual threat, that it was to her life and her family, that she did not provoke it, and that the means she used to repel the threat were necessary.
We'll be taking a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with Attorney Paolo Panelo when we return. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Still with us, Attorney Paolo Panelo, legal counsel of Vice President Sara Duterte in her perjury case against Ramil Madriaga.
Yes.
Para po hindi maguluhan din yung tao, Attorney Panelo is not part, obviously, of the defense team. I wish we could talk about that topic more and exhaust more details on that, but I gotta move on to what will happen next week. Ito na po yung allegations of misuse of confidential funds. And this is where her alleged bagman, Ramil Madriaga, is going to be presented rather as one of the witnesses. And Attorney Panelo is the lawyer of the Vice President on the perjury case the Vice President filed against Ramil Madriaga for the context. Okay. Pag pinatawag po at ipapatawag si Ramil Madriaga at sasabihin na po niya yung kanyang sinabi in the past, balikan ko na lang po some of the statements that were already made. His claim was that the OVP's 125 million confidential funds for 2022 was not disposed of in 11 days. In fact, it was done in 24 hours. And number two, siya daw po, in 2022, he was instructed by the Vice President to coordinate with then Colonel Dennis Nolasco to deliver money to 3 areas ni Huba, yung San Pablo, Laguna, a restaurant sa Quezon City, at Office of the Ombudsman. What are you expecting kay Ramil Madriaga? Natatawa na po kayo. Kasi, idagdag ko lang po, si Ramil Madriaga kasi yung parang bagong dagdag dito sa confidential funds issue as compared to the impeachment case the year before.
Correct.
Go ahead, sir.
So, to be honest, like the last time I spoke with Attorney Poa, we weren't even sure if the prosecution was going to present Ramil Madriaga. That's just how confident we are that presenting Ramil Madriaga will be a liability for the prosecution. Kasi, well, we all know that, as far as the lawyers of the Vice President are concerned, diba? We've seen his allegations, we've seen the lack of evidence to support those allegations. And we've proven in the perjury complaint that he's a liar, he's a he's a con artist. So, yeah, parang sige, 'di ba? Parang
Would you like him
it's your
presented?
funeral. Bale, you present him, it's your funeral.
Yeah,
Parang that's what we want. I've also said before, he's a dream for cross-examination for any lawyer kasi madaling hulihin. And yun, even the supplemental affidavit, which is not even covered by the first perjury complaint or the perjury complaint that we filed, even yung deliveries nun, malabo na agad eh. Kasi for example, sabi niya, ang unang delivery niya was to Laguna, di ba? But so it was dapat San Pablo, but the recipient said dito tayo mag-meet sa Cabuyao.
Sa isang mall, hindi ho ba?
Sa Cabuyao sa loob ng Industrial Park.
Okay.
And then sabi niya, in Cabuyao, Laguna, dito sa loob ng Industrial Park, tanaw ko yung SNR, Membership Shopping Establishment. Wala pong SNR mall or establishment in Cabuyao, Laguna. The nearest one is 45 minutes away. Okay?
I just have to interject something, Attorney, I hope you don't mind. When I hear statements like that from lawyers, whether it's you or anybody else, and when you look at these very specific allegations, I guess that's why you laugh, because yun po yung mga more than the totality, I guess, of what I'm saying, of any witness, not just him. Pag nagbigay na po kasi ng mga statements, specific, yun po yung inyong tutumbukin one by one kung may katotohanan o hindi. So ang sinasabi nyo ngayon, walang matatanaw na SNR mula po doon. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of point that out because sometimes we miss the details.
Like
us.
In the first affidavit that he executed, it was missing those details. And so we said, okay, present that guy, let him supply the details because we're pretty sure we can destroy those details too. Kasi before, it was too general, you cannot rule them out. You cannot find the evidence to prove that he was lying. Pero because we maybe because we challenged him or maybe because it's necessary to prove an allegation, he supplied details. Eh di, yari siya. Walang SNR sa Laguna. Yung sinasabi niyang delivery sa Nomo Basho, sinabi niya nandun si Attorney Reynold Monsayak, but we have the testimony of the owners of Nomo Basho. They were there all evening. It was closed for an exclusive party, and Reynold Monsayak wasn't there. They have pictures to show that the place was crowded during the time that Madriaga supposedly entered that establishment, and it was impossible to miss him kung may dala-dala siyang malalaking bag. Kasi ubod ng sikip ng Nomo Basho. We went to the place. It's so
I saw
small.
a video of that actually from the owners, and meron pa siyang pinakitang maliit na makitid na hagdanan papunta atang second floor, tapos may pinakita siyang ito ang storage area / office namin. Is that I'm assuming?
So sabi kasi niya dun sa first
So there was a
affidavit,
private party.
There was a
that night.
private party,
Okay.
Christmas party. That was ano kasi, December 20 and 21. The party started at 11. It lasted until 4 a.m. And Madriaga naman said that he arrived at 12 midnight. So sakto. Malas niya na yung pinili niyang araw, imposible yung sinasabi niya. Pero meron kasing connection yun eh. Kaya December 20 ang sinabi niya because I think it's Gina Acosta, the disbursing officer of either the OVP or the DepEd, previously testified before the House that the confidential funds were released on December 20. So ngayong alam na nilang December 20, gusto nilang magtahi ng storya na we also got the funds on December 20 and disbursed it within 24 hours. Eh, yun nga, malas niya, ang sabi niyang delivery, Nomo Basho, impossible.
So, impossible because you were saying wala po doon si Mr. Monsayak at may party, napakadaming tao. So it's not, it wouldn't be easy for him to just enter and drop off the bags of
Correct.
money.
And
the
even
maleta.
yun nga,
Is that-
you mentioned the storage area. He said that somebody came from that storage, from a room. He said somebody came from a room to get the bags from them. Pero that room is actually a storage space na baka kasya lang isang tao. Ganon kaliit yung storage. So hindi siya kwarto at hindi siya normally lalabasan ng isang tao para kumuha ng gamit. So things like that. And of course, 'di ba, lumabas na rin yung gumawa ng painting, yung artist na gumawa ng painting and all those things, yung bangko daw sa Lubao, Pampanga, wala naman palang bank in a mall in Lubao, Pampanga, wala naman palang mall sa Lubao, Pampanga. Those things, 'di ba? So, yun, that's why we're unsure whether he's going to be presented at all. So we'll see. They've actually listed 25 witnesses for this article, so we'll see.
And he's one of them.
Yes,
And
yes.
you said it's a dream to actually cross-examine Mr. Ramil Madriaga. What you call, attorney, as lack of evidence is what the prosecution, or at least during the House hearing back then, would say the exact opposite. Because while you say lack of evidence and you're debunking a number of things that Ramil Madriaga had already said, meron po pa rin, syempre, yung mga Zoom meeting. I know this was discussed matagal na po, way back now, but good to bring it back na nagtrabaho ho siya daw talaga kay the Vice President. Siya ang head nung kanyang kampanya. Nagkita sila doon sa, pinasa kanya yung flag na Sir Ramil. Meron si Vice President na happy birthday Sir Ramil na video, etc. So again, what could be lack of evidence for you could be an abundance of evidence for the other side.
I don't see it that way because those videos, pictures, prove only one thing, that he was a supporter during the campaign. Buti sana if he has pictures after the campaign, while working pictures, text messages, and other evidence, documentary evidence or otherwise. Pero wala kasi. So,
Except yung sa proclamation.
Yung sa proclamation, but we've already addressed that. He was actually not invited to the oath-taking.
Sorry, the oath-taking of the Vice President.
He was just a last-minute replacement for Attorney Ryan Kilala, another guest. But, yun nga, for us, sige, you have those videos of a Zoom meeting during the campaign, but yeah, it was attended by so many people. It was a meet and greet for campaign supporters. It only proves that you supported the campaign, which the Vice President doesn't even deny. But she denies knowing him because sa dami ng supporters, hindi mo talaga makikilala lahat yan.
What is the update, or we were trying to look into the latest on the perjury case that the Vice President, through the counsel yourself, filed against Ramil Madriaga, sir? What is the update there? We haven't seen anything since a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it's already submitted for resolution. We're waiting for the Office of the City Prosecutor of Taguig to resolve. But we're also waiting for the go signal from the Vice President to file a second perjury complaint addressing the supplemental affidavit.
The supplemental affidavit.
Yeah.
You're talking about for the information of all and to remind us, this is the supplemental affidavit that was shown during the hearing sa House of Representatives nung siya po ay nagpunta. Because originally there was just one affidavit and then meron po siyang dalang second one na binasa po niya.
Yung iniyakan niya dun sa House Justice Committee, yun yung supplemental affidavit. Yeah.
What about the cell phones? Any word on there's supposed to be a forensic on the cell phones of Ramil Madriaga? Would that prove to be, could be detrimental to your client?
We know it's not there. If it shows up, it's probably fabricated. Yun ang tingin namin doon. But he's had every opportunity in the proceedings before the Office of the City Prosecutor of Taguig to provide those, or for his counsel to ask the prosecutor's office to subpoena those. Wala eh. So maybe they're reserving it for the impeachment, but again, knowing that whatever that is are probably fabricated, then I have all the confidence in the world in the defense team that they'll be able to disprove it.
Would you even, are you even a possible witness for the defense, sir?
For Madriaga, no.
No.
Yeah.
anything else? Kasi sabi mo for Madriaga, baka for something else?
Well, let's see. Kasi so I'm also counsel for the former president, and before he was taken away to The Hague, we were actually supposed to file was it a perjury complaint also against Senator Trillanes in connection with supposed bank accounts of the former president,
Okay.
and it having billions.
Yung BPI po.
Yung BPI. So, I was the counsel for the former president there. And he gave me access to those accounts. So, I know that Senator Trillanes is lying. So, maybe there. Pero wala pang discussion on that. But,
Kasi pwede
yeah.
pong lumabas yan doon sa allegation of unexplained wealth.
Yes.
And then, of course, the BPI, I read it a while ago, is one of those banks that
Yeah.
have been issued a subpoena with regard to some of the bank accounts of the Vice President, her husband, and
Yes.
her husband, and their joint or separate accounts. Attorney Paolo Panelo, sir, pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for your time. Hope to see you again.
thank you for having me.
Thank you. That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.